Hello, so I'm here with another recorded session. And yesterday we were discussing feminism, and I guess we talked till first wave we have seen. And now I would tell you about the second wave. The introduction I've already given to you. What the second wave is. It started in the decade of 60s and 70s, and I have named the scholars as well. Like Betty Friedan, and I gave you 3 to 4 names yesterday. Now, this second wave, this became a bit radical, in fact, a lot radical, because it started challenging the very notion of gender. Now, we have seen the different themes yesterday, and there this was the difference between sex and gender. So, these feminists, the second wave feminists of the decades of 60s and 70s, they often they try to address this, or they try to attack this notion that gender divisions are natural. Okay, they will directly attack on this presumption that it is the nature which has designed social roles for men and women. So a woman's physical and anatomical makeup, they would argue, does not suit what she is up to. Usually, the traditional notion has been that a woman is having less physical strength. Her anatomy, her physical appearance is kind of suited for domestic role, contrary to men who are not suited for domestic role. They engage into outside work. They earn a living. They go out. They earn a livelihood. Engage in some remunerative production, some meaningful production, and women are supposed to be inside home owing to their physical anatomical structures and features that they have. So now they would also say that yes, childbearing is unique to women, but together that they also bear children, and they produce children, and regarding their other things that is peculiar to women, not to men. So they do insist, the second wave feminists do insist that there is no biological fact necessarily that make women at a disadvantageous position. Okay, all these things, that the features, these are unique features. A man has unique features, physical features. A woman has unique physical features. There is no inherent disability arising out of these features. So it's not their social destiny. And women may be mothers, but they need to accept the responsibilities of motherhood, is what they would say. Nurturing, educating, and raising their children, and child rearing is cultural rather than biological. They would say, the second generation would say, the second wave feminists would say that a woman is not born, she is made one. Okay, which means a person is not born as a woman, she is made a woman because of the thinking. So women are expected to stay at home and bring up their children and look after the house, is the traditional role as has been defined. And the traditional family structure they will attack. The second generation feminists would attack that this traditional family structure actually facilitates the exploitation of women by typecasting or stereotyping women from very early in life, like how a girl is supposed to laugh, to sit. We have often heard these things, I guess, that you are a girl, so you should not laugh like this, or walk like this, or sit like that, sit in a proper posture. Okay, don't sit like that, don't go there. So these are the societal traditions which the second generation feminists would attack. And they have traditionally challenged the idea that biology is destiny by drawing a very sharp distinction between sex and gender. Now, sex here refers to the biological differences between females and males, as everyone of us know that. Now, these differences are natural, so they are unalterable. Okay, what women can physically do, men can't, and vice versa. These are natural changes, natural unique features, and they cannot be altered. But the most important sex difference is linked with the reproduction. But gender is a cultural term. Sex may be a biological term, but gender is a cultural term, as the second wave feminist would argue, and it refers to the different roles that the society prescribes for the genders. To men and women especially, they have not talked much about transgenders. Now, gender differences are typically imposed, as they would say, through contrasting stereotypes. You remember the first class NCERT class 6 stereotypes. So here we are making use of that concept. I hope you do. Of Now comes, because of stereotyping comes the concept of masculinity and femininity, is what they would say. That because of stereotyping, there exists this very notion of masculinity and femininity. That there was this famous dialogue from Amitabh Bachchan, "Mard ko dard nahi hota." you all understand that a man does not feel pain. I mean, why? A man is also supposed to have emotions. If you hit a human, irrespective of the gender, the human will feel hurt. Any living organism will feel hurt, whether an animal or a human, irrespective of the gender. So these are the stereotypes that a man is not supposed to cry. Why not? Man should, if a man does not cry and he is very, very sad, then he might go into depression. You need to vent it out at times. We all have cried. Come on, irrespective of whether we are men or women. So these are the masculinity traits and the femininity traits that have been assigned to us by society over a period of time. These have evolved into certain watertight compartmental traits which both genders are supposed to follow, the masculinity and femininity. And apart from this, feminists also, they deny that there is a necessary logical link. They would say that there is no logical link between sex and gender. They emphasize that gender differences are social and political. They are constructed. Sex is made into gender through social and political stereotyping construction, is what the second generation feminists would argue. Now, this is the introduction that I wanted to give you. Now, let us try to jot certain things as I always do in class. So now time for our notes. I'll write down. This recorded session is with you, so you can always listen to it, watch it. If you want, you can note it down simultaneously. Also, the flowcharts that I'll make. So I'm starting here. What is the other thing that they talk about? And actually, feminism started like all the ideologies. It started on a good note, but currently, I'll come to the fourth wave, and you decide for yourself what they are saying. Like, if these things are obeyed, if these things are followed, I mean, the way we are living right now, a civilized society will not be possible if the fourth wave feminists will have their way. So let us first come to the fourth wave. Before that, let us try to decode what the second wave says. And here, yesterday, as I told you, that they will talk about this patriarchy I've already defined for you yesterday, I guess. Now, how patriarchy is sustained, how it survives all through this time. Well, there are certain myths that have been perpetuated to us by perpetuating myths about women. This is how they survive. Now, these myths result in subordination of women. Like, let us see some myth. Women should marry at a particular age, and after that they will lose their attraction, so no one will marry them, is what it's often said in society. Now, how patriarchy is sustained. Now, even they say that women magazine have also contributed. How they have contributed? Because they kind of portray life of a housewife as the ideal life, as content, happy and satisfied, is what they say. Now, this was the famous remark. Is M Simon D B E A was U V Simon de Beauvoir. Okay, so this is what they would say, that one is not born women, one is made into a. Okay, now let us try to understand this. She says that that statement that I wrote just now, there is difference between sex and gender. These two are very distinct entities, as feminists would believe. This is natural. This is not natural. This is social. Gender is social. Okay, so women suffer because of gender, which is a social construct, not a natural construct. Okay, society, what society does? They start discriminating between sexes since birth, and it keeps on happening from birth to childhood to adolescence to adult. This keeps happening. What happens is society kind of prescribes the norms. Okay, they prescribe the norms and thus deny opportunity to a person, right, to do what he or she wishes, to do what she wishes actually, because they are being typecasted against women. So women are treated as what she calls second sex. Okay, women are treated as second sex. Now, male is the reference point. They are secondary sex. Okay, and she has also blamed those people who want women to look attractive to men. Okay, now we are here talking about the same lady. We are talking about Simon de Beauvoir, the author of Second Sex. All this is being said by her. Now, she will not stop. She will go on. She will do a very deep analysis. Now, what else will she say, Simon? That the myth of pleasure of being a mother, it has been treated like a bliss, but it is a very most women would hate that. Most women would hate motherhood. is what she says. And she also blames society for making women appear attractive. So why should she look beautiful? Okay, being attractive to man. Okay, so like why should a woman try to look good or make efforts, engage into all that makeup? Okay, and whatever they women, there are lot many things that women do to look beautiful. So all these things she would say are kind of societal construct. It's not needed actually, and these things perpetuate your kind of against women is also what she would say. Because the very thing that she would say that entire this motherhood is over glorified is what she would say. We can change the pen and write like sex is natural, gender is social. Now she talks about what is called gendered society. Now this gendered society is based on patriarchal values. Okay, and these patriarchal values creates disadvantages for women. It also begins deprivation. They also suffer violence because of their sex. Okay, now we can also this human development report of 2014, it mentions the example of, you have heard this, Malala Yousafzai, the Nobel laureate, and Nirbhaya. You all know about these two unfortunate women. However, she has made a fortune now. She is not alive. The December 16 gang rape in 2012. Yes. So she would say that they say that they were targeted because of their gender. And what happened to Malala? Let me just tell you. Malala is a Pakistani girl. Now she has, of course, been a resident. She is into Oxford, I guess. Yes. So what happens is that all these Malala was asked not to go to school, and she went to school. That terrorist, the Taliban, shot her in her head, and she survived, and now she has become a celebrity. Now she has opinion on everything. I'm like, Betty, please complete your education before you start lecturing the entire world. Now she is lecturing everyone. She's lecturing India. She's lecturing America, but strangely, she is not uttering a word against her own country. Now she's more of a global citizen, right? But she needs to learn a lot before voicing her opinion on every damn thing under the sun. Same Nirbhaya, she was actually a physiotherapist, and she was raped brutally and she died later on. So yes, largely these two were targeted because of their gender. I mean, there was a guy with Nirmala, but he did not face that because he was a guy. Malala, if a guy was not asked to go to school, and if he goes to school, I mean, Taliban would have done the same with Malala also. So yes, I do not completely kind of agree, because Taliban kills anyone who go to school, the schools that they don't like. They want their Sharia laws. Education also should be through Sharia. So this HDR report also highlights the increased cases of honor killings. There is no honor in killing, right? In South Asia, they would say it happens everywhere. Now there are many societies with inhumane, many societies with inhumane practices. Now there is something called female genital, mutilation. It happens in Bora community among Muslims. Circumcision, how do you, yeah, season of genital organs at a very tender age, 5 to 6 years. Okay, so these are very inhuman practices that are being carried out. Now, Suzanne, another feminist, we have already noted name last day, Brown Miller. She wrote a book against our will, and she said that rape is an institution of patriarchy and has nothing to do with sexual desire. Now, this is something I don't agree with. How has rape nothing to do with sexual desire? All of them are frustrated sexual perverts. But she would say that purpose of rape is to keep women in a state of fear. Now, this is what Dawn Miller says. You need not agree with everything what she says, but you need to know that she is a second wave feminist. So we need to quote her while studying it. Okay. Now, what else? Like patriarchy. See, economic structure, they would say, like Karl Marx would say, all those who have attended those classes will remember. If not, you can watch the recordings. Economic structure was the kind of substructure as per the Marxist on which everything was based. Substructure means every other structure is based on this. Now, feminists would say that patriarchy is this substructure. Every other thing is based on patriarchy. Even if economic structure changes, it does not mean that status of women will change. We can, like communist revolution happened in China, but China remained highly patriarchal. Okay, China remained highly patriarchal. There were not much participation of women in Mao's government. Okay, so apart from that, they will talk about feminization of poverty. And USA is one of the most advanced country, but still it is home to largest number of homeless women in Western world. So there's this Smith Firestone. It's actually Suzanne S. You can write S.S. Smith Firestone. She would say that we need to talk about dialectics of sex, not just dialectics of class. Those who are unaware of this term, please watch the lectures on my lectures on Marxism. And we need to recognize sexual politics as what Kate Millett, another second wave feminist, would say. Okay, so we need to talk about these things. We need to kind of spread the idea about these things. And there are some articles that I'll send in the group. But before that, there's this famous, and you have been questioned on this in your main exam. Personal is political. Carol Harris would say that. It means, what does that mean actually? What this personal is political would mean? That even at family level, there's this, power relations. There are power relations. Family isn't outside the political discourse. So they would say that politics has been masculinist. So only two, Plato and Mill, talked of women issues. Okay. Now Aristotle kind of confined women. Okay, within four walls of house. Right? And even he denied citizenship. Aristotle had a very regressive view on women. Something similar to his views on slave. So he compared women with slaves who are not free creatures, so on and so forth. He has been criticized for this a lot. So, and deprived women from citizenship. Now this continued. This was continued long after Aristotle. Okay, so we like personal and political. They both are kept separate. It's not the case. Both are very much intermixed right from the days of Plato. It was Aristotle who made them separate. Now it has continued. So what happens when we separate the two? So the Carol Harris and second generation feminists are saying that personal and political, what is happening in family, the same thing is happening in politics in the state. Now if you overlook, like you see, we can write like this: overlooking or ignoring. I hope you all understood what is personalist political. If not, then please drop me a message in the group, in our Telegram group. Personalist political means that the personal life is different from the political life. Now, Carol Harris, the second generation feminists, are denying this. They are saying, no, even in family, there are politics and power equations. And same thing happens in state at that level. So if you overlook personalist political, then you know what you do, that violence against women that happen within family, okay, that will be overlooked. It's not that they are recommending, but if you overlook personal and political, if you overlook that personal is political, if you maintain that these two are distinct rather than what they are saying, rather than what Hennis is saying, that no, personal and political are not separate, they are same. Okay, they are same, they are similar things. So if you overlook that they are similar, then violence against women in family will be overlooked. State needs to intervene in domestic issues, because a woman being a man comes to his house and beats her wife every day. So state cannot continue to overlook, saying that no, this is personal. We only see the political aspect, whether he is doing that on the road, or whether he is violating any law, or whether or not they are paying any tax, or whether he is stealing something. Everything he is doing all right. He is obeying the law, so state will not intervene because that's a personal issue. No, state needs to intervene here. Now, Government of India brought this Domestic Violence Act by Government of India. It's a recognition that personal is political, right? It's a recognition, it's an acceptance. It gives legitimacy to the theory that personal is political. And it also means that state will intervene. State will intervene in your personal sphere as and when needed. Okay. But again, the second generation feminists would say that state, what is state? State is an institution of their favorite word, patriarchy. Okay, this is what the state is. So state is dominated by men. There is hardly any women. And therefore, state laws are unfavorable to women. The state laws are unfavorable to the women because most of them are made by the men. So state is responsible because state is an instrument of patriarchy. It is dominated by men, and these men make such laws which are not favorable for women. Okay, now the third thing that is on the radar of feminists is family. Now family, they would say, lets the patriarchy to emerge. Okay, now a child sees that her mother is being or his or her mother is being suppressed in the family. Same child, when he becomes an adult and he says that in society also women are subjugated, then he or she concludes that this is very normal thing. This is how women are treated. So family kind of reinforces the same belief in men, is what the second generation feminists would say. That's why they are very much against family. Okay, here they would say, again, it's an institution where patriarchy emerges. How? Now, same child as an adult, when he matures, when he becomes a major, subordination of women in society. So he or she thinks, can be anyone, boy or girl. It's obvious and very natural. This is bound to happen, is what they would say. Okay. Now again, the career of women, that women are at disadvantageous position. Okay, in market. Now they are not financially independent, and that is why they are dependent on the males all the time. They're not financially independent, is what they would say. So women are at disadvantageous position in market, and that is why they are taken for a ride. They don't do things. They do not do things the way they should have done. They are not allowed that financial autonomy. So now they will call upon the third wave that we should see now. Let us complete the third wave. Okay. Now, this third wave, it actually started with Suzanne Faludi. She wrote a book, Backlash. Okay, and there she wrote that now they talk about post-feminism. It started in 1990s, third wave in USA, and continued till 2010. Now from 2010 forward, there is the toxic one. I'll talk about that also. Okay, but what happens here is that here what they would say, that they do not agree with actually radical feminists, the second wave. Instead of considering womenhood as disadvantage, they consider it as a privilege, the third wave. They want to celebrate feminine qualities. Okay, they want to celebrate the feminine qualities. Now, how do you do that? Try to understand how they actually do that. So this is third wave, and with second feminists who want to celebrate feminine qualities and no need for equality, as women are superior to men, right? So that they would say that we are superior to men, so we do not need superior this kind of any kind of equality. Now how it happened, because of the change the paradigm, the economic status achieved by women until 1990s, achieved by women, expansion of opportunities. Okay, these things brought the third wave. Now, of course, with the globalization, things have improved for both men and women. The most of them have now kind of you can say that not all, but yes, most of us have gained from the opening of the economy, right? So there they would say that we are superior, and that is why we do not need any kind of this mercy, or we should not kind of feel like a victim. Okay, now we can write something here. These were younger generation of feminists who started to think like this. They have also, you can write this, how do you put it, like this. Third wave has kind of tried to correct it. Actually, you can write, try to correct the overemphasis of what, what overemphasis within earlier forms of feminism. Okay, on the aspirations of white women, on the aspirations of white women, they would say that you have just built in your entire argument urban middle class white women, developed society. So this has to, the third wave will always have, third wave should have diversity. Why only white urban women? Okay, there needs to be diversity here. Now many type of things will emerge here in third wave. Now you will hear about black feminism. Okay, you will hear about black feminism. Now what is black feminism? Here it will say, it will be said by these people, it protests sexism and racism as linked system of oppression. Okay, this is what they will do. Developing women of color, they will talk about it. Black feminism will kind of challenge the tendency within the conventional forms of feminism that ignores racial difference. Okay, they say that women endure oppression by because of their sex, but black feminism will portray sexism and racism linked system of oppression. You can write this: sexism and oppression are linked system. Okay, they would say, and this largely to linked system of you can write oppressions. That's what they would say. So it highlights complex range of genders, racial and economic disadvantage that confront black women. Okay, more than white women, which means black are more suffering. So the problem of black women differ from white women. Okay, this is what they believe in. And they will also talk about this post-colonial feminism in third wave only. Post-colonial feminism. Now there is dual burden on women here. What is that? One, their favorite word, patriarchy. The other, neo-colonialism. There's this famous scholar, Chandra Talpade Mohanty, a very famous post-colonial feminist. Okay. Now, neo-colonialism, he would say that you can call it something like, how do I define that? You see, you have not studied Foucault, okay? So I cannot talk about post-structuralism right now. But still, I will try to convey this to you that in all these colonies, the issue of identity, like post-colonial means the colonies who were occupied by the imperial powers, now they have become free. So still there is this element of neo-colonialism. You can see the likes of all this. In fact, Andrew Haywood has used the term McDonaldization, but I don't want to go into that right now. The instrument of this post-structuralism, you can say, this an intellectual tradition that emphasizes that all ideas and concepts are expressed in language that itself is complex, itself shows a complex relation of power. That's what I'm saying. We need to go to Michael Foucault, and we haven't done that post-structuralism. That's why we can not surely talk about this now. Let us please wait for structure of power. There is this full chapter in your syllabus, so there we can talk about these things. Now, apart from this, apart from the post-colonial, like neo-colonialism is also having an effect that there are certain defined structures that exploit women. Like women are working on the fields, women are not able to migrate like their male counterparts in search of better livelihoods. Male child is preferred to go for higher education by parents. Okay, this they would say. Now there is another one, very interesting one actually. I'll tell you what is here. This is again, we are still in third phase. We are still in the third wave. There's this ecofeminism. Okay, would say ecological. Nature is feminine and closer to women. Man is not so close. Okay, so whenever there is this environmental degradation, all this global warming and toxic gases being released, so women are the worst sufferers, is what they would say. As I was reading a UN document last week, or maybe yes, last week I guess, where they have released something, and they are surveying on their social media, on their Twitter and Facebook and everywhere, and on Insta also, that how this COVID-19, the coronavirus, has brought more hardship to women than men, is what they were saying. So something similar, this in ecological feminism says that whenever there is an environmental degradation, women are, at the center stage. They are the one who face the music mostly. Now, any strategy, any policy of sustainable development, requires women empowerment, is what they would say. That this ecological is not possible. Okay, this is simply not possible. Now, apart from this, there is another concept called Feminization of Poverty. Now, it was given by Diana Pierce. She talked about it. World's poor, mostly women. Even in US, the most homeless population is of women. Now, why feminization of poverty? Because, there's this patriarchal society and women suffer from many deprivation. They suffer from many deprivations. There is this negative sex ratio. Many women have gone missing. Now, that is why, in poverty also, there are more women who are, because their skills are limited. They have been, because of patriarchy only. Because patriarchal mindset does not let them learn new skills, get out and earn livelihood, better livelihood, study more when they want to. So these things have kept them poor. That is why we hear that there has been a feminization of poverty. Okay, and now we hear about this thing. How to get rid of these things? Sweden, the first country to adopt it. A feminist foreign policy. The government of Sweden has declared they are following feminist foreign policy, which would mean that they would strengthen human rights of women, kind of combat gender-based violence in conflict situation. Like there is a war going on, so women again face a lot of violence. Okay, participation of women in peace process and economic empowerment of women. More than that, strengthening sexual and reproductive rights of women. Now, Hillary Clinton said the same thing. Hillary Clinton, you all know her. She supports feminist foreign policy. And she says that human rights, she would say that human rights are women rights. She would say that. It's her words. So these are the various functions of third wave. Now, one small thing is left about fourth wave and how feminist foreign policy. So today, apart from this chapter, you will have something to read also. I'm sending it in your group. Okay, so please revise this. And until I'm told, I've learned it in news also that rains have stopped in Hyderabad. The pouring has stopped. I mean, it poured like anything. I don't think it ever rained like that in the city. So now internet will be slowly restored. And I think by this weekend things will be far better. So until then, we'll keep having these recorded classes. Let us not stop the studies because your exam will happen on the same day. Okay, so let us keep moving. We all are making our efforts. You should also make the same thing, please. And yes, since it's a recorded session, so I'm repeating that you don't have the luxury of asking questions. Please feel free to ask questions in Telegram group. I'm there to respond. Okay, so please do that. And until then, I'll send some materials for you also to read. See you all tomorrow in the next class.